welcome to another Grand Theatre podcast, Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat, with myself, Hayley, and Jed Mills. Now, we are pretty excited that we've got another guest joining us on the podcast this week. Now, I've got to be honest, Liza, I grew up watching you on the TV all the way through. It feels like the 80s and 90s. So when you walked in today, I was a bit starstruck. Yeah. I was like, wow, been on our TVs a long time.
A long time.
Yeah. But here to discuss farce with us today, it's the lovely Liza Goddard. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
And it is, isn't it? It's a real honour because, like you say, you've been in so many things. But if people don't know what farce is, tell us what is farce.
Farce is the most difficult to do, and I think it's the least considered. Oh, farce! It's just running around losing your trousers. I've done a lot of farce about Ray Cooney, and of course some of the 8 balls I've done have had farcical elements. But this play we're doing now, Noises Off, is one of the greatest. And I think the funniest play ever written. And of course, it's typical farce. It's what we're doing. We're performing a farce called Nothing On, an old-fashioned 70s farce. Mm-hmm. But we're a company putting it on and things go wrong. So the old-fashioned farce, of which I did 15 months in the West End with David Jason.
Wow.
No sex, please, were British.
Oh, amazing.
Because I was the straight part. And the most important person to get laughs is the straight person. So you're giving the feed. And I learned that from David. He'll say, well, you do this and we'll do this and we'll get a bigger laugh. And he was incredibly inventive and charismatic. So I learned a lot from him. And then I worked a lot with Ray Cooney. And I did some terrible farces, don't pinch the teaspoons, things like that. So what farce is, it's heightened, but you have to play it as seriously as if you're playing a tragedy.
Right.
Because the situation is usually so awful for the people involved. So something that's life-changing, appalling situation if it gets wrong. So it's on a knife edge. And so you have to play it with absolute tremendous intensity. On the other hand, you also have to have comedy timing and energy to run about and and a lot of it's technical. So you have to open one door and shut another on a particular line. So it's incredibly difficult to do, but so rewarding. Oh my goodness, to hear those laughs going on and people belly laughing.
Yeah, and
wonderful.
Like you said about the timing, and I suppose works at speed as well, doesn't it? And you can't think about it, or else the joke's gone.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
It's really hard to learn as well.
I was about to say,
it's all of you are involved out of in one door, out of another. Somebody else is out of a door, and so we're all running around like lunatics up and down the stairs.
So I guess you have to really trust your cast members implicitly, because if one drops the ball, so to speak,
the joke's
over. The joke's gone.
And also, if anybody thinks, oh, well, I'll do this, I'll be really funny in this, then that's gone as well. Because
so it's all about teamwork.
You have to play it absolutely for real. And yes, it is. It's a proper ensemble piece.
How do you train to do that? Or do you think it's instinctive?
I think it's very difficult because it's not done very often, because I grew up in the era of repertory theatre, so one could always work, and they always did farces. They were part of our theatrical tradition, but they hardly ever do them now. And so I worked with a lot of old-time farceurs, which used to be, they were highly considered actors who were called farceurs, but they're very few now. I think Donald Sinden comes to mind. He was a fantastic farceur, and it's sort of gone out of fashion. And so I think particularly working with the younger members of the cast, they don't really know about farce at all, and tried to explain about the timing and about you've got to do this and we've got to do this.
Gosh, and how long does the rehearsal process take then? Because I guess it's not enough to just turn up, know your lines and wait for the direction. This, I'm guessing, has to be rehearsed to within an inch of its life.
I only had 3 weeks.
No!
Which is not enough.
Wow.
And honestly, we all began to think that we just can't remember it anymore, because now we all know it. It seems so simple. You think, why was it so hard? The reason is because we all have to be as good as each other. And we all have to remember our lines, because the lines are also cues for things to happen, physical things. So and they have to be spot on and the same always. You can't ever improvise or paraphrase or anything. So in the end, you're drilling. It's like, I suppose, like learning an army maneuver or something. You have to just drill and drill and drill, or doing a dance routine.
Yeah. Do you, the writing, how important is the script writing in terms, is that everything? Or are you allowed to, like you say, sometimes improvise that? Right, okay.
We're doing the whole thing.
All right.
The writing is all
right.
theatre for me. So, for example, I've been very lucky. I worked with Alan Ayckbourn many times. And you can't even change a comma. I mean, you have to be. So, and this play is the same. You can't change anything, even an and or a but. It has to be what is written and absolutely exactly the same as he's written it. And if you change it, then it alters they're so clever, Michael Frayn and Aitborn, with the rhythm of the characters, and it's all in the dialogue. Sometimes it's very difficult to learn because it sounds like normal speak, but it's not.
Gosh, I mean, it sounds like the most challenging theatre possible. Because I, as a complete novice, I imagine things like crying on stage must be difficult, or trying to capture a certain moment. But this sounds way more difficult.
Crying's easy. Do you know what? Is crying, so he's laughing. Oh, that's really hard.
In terms of making it
sound real.
Real, yes.
But farce is the hardest in my
Gosh.
And also you get so hot.
Yeah.
All absolutely dripping back. Poor old wardrobe out.
Well, let's talk about, move on to your career then. I mean, how did you start? What was your training?
Well, I worked in our local repertory in the school holidays, and then my father went to work for the ABC in Australia. He was working at the BBC here, and we all went. And instead of going back to college or anything, I went to work to the theatre in Sydney, Australia, and said I worked in theatre. And lied about my age. I got a job as an ASM playing small parts.
Wow.
Right. And then played lots of things in the theatre, played Juliet and various... I was going to be a serious actress. And then I got a part in a thing called Skippy the Bush Kangaroo, which was 2 years filming with kangaroos in the bush.
Wow.
And was international.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I came back to England and then started working in theatre and television to earn my fare back to Australia, and never went back to Australia because jobs just kept coming. As I said, in those days, there were all these reps you could just go and do. So you'd have 2 weeks rehearsal and 2 weeks playing in a fortnight.
Yeah.
And so
moved on, yeah.
Chekhov here, Shakespeare there, farce here. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Feels like you've had a really varied career. I mean, the TV stuff, the
children's TV.
Yeah, I mean that's 100%. I used to love Wolf after school. Did you?
Yeah,
Loved it.
What did you enjoy the most? Because sometimes, I mean, obviously, there's people who'll say theatre because it's all live. Some people will say TV. What did you enjoy the most?
I spent most of my career doing theatre, but I did love doing Wolf, and not only because my husband was the producer.
Yeah.
We got to work together for 10 years in Birmingham and Nottingham. And Bergerac was another one I loved doing.
I used to get up to stay late.
Was that in Jersey, or was it? It wasn't somewhere else, but it was sort of right.
Oh,
and the car.
It was a marvellous script.
Yes.
Fantastic character. And Jersey and John Nettles. I mean, it was just...
I remember being able to stay up to watch Bergerac.
Bergerac was a real
treat.
wasn't it?
It was a real treat.
It was a real treat, wasn't it, Bergerac?
It was so well done.
I was just going to say, TV seemed to be better then. I don't know why. TV just seemed to be better.
I don't know, actually. I think it's because we were more patient probably back then.
It was event TV,
because
wasn't
when
it?
you look at now, there's some amazing dramas out on TV, but we're so impatient to wait. Oh, it's on every Monday. We want it now, don't we? We want the next series straight after. Exactly.
And my theory is that in those days, the whole thing was the script, so that was worked on. And then they'd cast it, whereas now they frequently get a name and they sort of cobble together some script. And you think that's not good enough. The script's not good enough. And then I think that's what it was. The script was still the most important thing, because everybody who worked in telly had come from theatre training. And now, of course, they haven't. So they're more, I suppose, TikTok generation. So they want to...
Yeah. Have you thought about writing? Have you done writing? Not for you?
No, thanks.
What's put you off
I don't
then?
want to write. I don't want to direct.
What's put you off that? Is it? Yeah.
Yes, I love performing. I love bringing these characters to life. Writer's character, finding the sort of inside story. And I've got a whole backstory for my character, which makes Matthew Kelly laugh a lot because you don't see it on stage. But I love trying to find the reality of the character.
Yeah.
Gosh, it feels to me like I say, you were certainly a part of my childhood growing up and being on the TV, and now at the theatre, it feels to me like you are just as enthusiastic about what you do now as you've ever been.
I am, and I still have to earn a living. But that's not the only reason I'm doing it. I just love doing it's always about the script. I do love doing it really, and this Noises Off is one of the great scripts, and I've never done it before. Everyone assumes.
Really?
I'm just so grateful to be doing it because it's a joy. It's really hard work. We're absolutely driven by even our underwear. But to make 600 people scream with laughter.
Yeah.
It's the most fantastic thing.
It must be a great feeling.
They wait and they say, "Oh, you've made us feel so much better because life's hard." But we've come and we've had 2 hours of just laughing and forgetting about and proper belly laughing, which people just don't do.
I have to say, you're one of the few, I think, actors that I think we've ever interviewed where it brims out of you how much you absolutely love what you do. Because we sometimes interview people, you sometimes get the impression that they're there because they have to be there, but with you, it just feels like
we feel like
brims out of you, like you just love it.
It's like we do in radio, isn't it? And stuff that we've done is the money side of it. It's just, oh right, we get paid for this, and I'm guessing it's I guess it's the same thing. You just love it, and I imagine if
theatre's not one to paid, you don't get
no. But I'm just guessing as well, if you weren't getting paid for this, you'd be doing a job, but you'd probably be doing Amdram or something because you absolutely love being on stage.
Performing. I do love it, and I'm so lucky. I realise because I work with wonderful people. I mean, I live alone in Norfolk because my husband died, and so when I'm there in the village, it's a lovely life. I walk around with the dogs and talk to everybody, but there's something missing. And then as soon as I'm in a rehearsal room, I think, no, well, this is it. This is me. I've spent my whole life since I was 15 doing, and I love it. And maybe I'm a vampire working with these lovely young people.
Is there something
sucking out there?
Yeah, it's a good plan. Is there anything that you still would go, I would absolutely love to do that? If you've got anything on your list, because you've worked with some amazing people, you've done some incredible things, but is there anything you're like, I would love to do, really random, that you'd love to do?
No, in fact, every time a job finishes, I think, that's it, I'll never work again. Especially as you get older, you think, oh, that's it, I'll never work again. So, but here I am doing this fantastic play.
It's really exciting.
What's the best thing you've done? As in production on stage. I'm absolutely throwing a curveball there to you.
I would say
we've not chatted about
probably
this.
the Oscar Wildes. I've played Lady Bracknell, Mrs. Erlin in Lady Windermere's Fan, the Lady Cheveley in Ideal Husband, and then 3 years ago I played Lady Hunstanton in Woman of No Importance.
Why the Oscar Wilde stuff?
Yeah, one they're just doing.
She likes the right
Acorn.
Yeah.
They're just they're wonderful to do. The dialogue is so witty and also lovely frocks.
Tick. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today. It's been really, really good. I think we were both excited to do the interview today. I think, like I said, mainly because of Wolf. I don't want to kind of keep going back to it, but honestly, we grew up watching it. So it's been so ace to talk to you. And best of luck with the rest of the tour.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Eat, Theatre, Sleep, Repeat.
Like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.